Hello everyone, just Gordon here, and welcome to this brand new little short series. When the last DLC came out, the Grasslands pack, I made a little video showing you 10 different kinds of butterfly gardens. I really like that, and this DLC I figured I'd expand on that and make a video about every animal in the DLC. So today we are starting off with the Red River Hog, one of my favorites. For this DLC for sure. I can't wait to add them to my zoo. So let's look at some habitats for them. So let's start with the safari park Beekse Bergen. Of course, this is one of my Planet Zoo projects as well that I can't wait to add the Red River Hogs to. And over here we have a lovely little viewing area with this glass with a little pond in front of it. And we can see hog habitats most of the time aren't very lush. There's a lot of dirt, a lot of mud, a lot of stuff like that. That's definitely something that we will see as a reoccurring theme around here. This habitat does have some plants in the back, but you can see that they have to be protected by like an electrical wire to make sure that the hogs probably don't uproot them or anything like that. This habitat has two viewing points. One of them is that little glass viewing we were just at, and there's a second viewing point on the other side, which is a bit more open, and we're looking out over the entire habitat. This habitat is actually shared between Red River Hog and banded mongoose. You'll actually find a ton of shared habitats with Red River Hogs, and we'll see all sorts of things, which I won't spoil what we'll see, but there's many different options for that. And yeah, those additional animals here do change a bit how the enclosure is laid out. Of course, we could see some things for the banded mongoose to burrow into and stuff like that in this case. Some other things that we do notice in this habitat is a nice little, very simplistic shelter. Yeah, this enclosure is pretty simplistic overall. So yeah, I don't have much more to say about it. The only thing around the back, all the way in the back there, you can see their actual like indoor holding area. And that is really just about it. So let's move on to the next zoo. And the next zoo I have for you all is the Tierpark Aachen. My German is spectacular. This is from my Germany trip earlier this year. Again, it's a very simplistic habitat over here, just a mesh fence with some hedges around it. You can come up and take a bit of an elevated view at it, which is pretty cool, but the rest of the elements are all the same. Mud, logs, live plants protected against the destructive nature of hogs, and that is pretty much it for this one. So let's go to the next zoo. And the next zoo we are visiting is Ouwehands Tierpark, where we find the Red River Hogs right next to the elephant stalls. There's this really neat little habitat over here. Again, pretty simple. We see the same things. The tree over there is protected, but something special is there's a little gate over there. So where does that gate lead? Well, it's the actual elephant habitat. So if we take a little look over here, we can see the indoor habitat. You can see them inside. Hi there. But yeah, that is just kind of what their stalls would look like. It's just concrete, really. But I think we also have a peek over here into the rest of their habitat, as well as the kitchen over here. Just a very simple kitchen for preparing some of the food, probably. I had to kind of block the reflections there. But yeah, as I said, the hogs over here are actually able to walk onto the elephant field as well. So they share their habitat with the African elephants, which is just so cool, and such a nice bit of enrichment for the Red River Hogs, because when an elephant poops, like you can see over here, the hogs have these awesome turds for them to dig through and get some food out of. I absolutely love any sort of mixed species with elephants. It's so cool. It's just like the Hamadryas baboons and the Beekse Bergen. They also like to go through the elephant's poop, and the same goes for the Red River Hog. So that's just really awesome. Alright, another super short and quick one. This is Krefeld Zoo in Germany, and this is really just the basic, like the bare minimum Red River Hog enclosure you need. It's got all your mud, stones, logs, protected plants, and everything you could ask for. We can also see their stable, their backstage stall building over here, which is also the stalls of the mountain Anoa. Next habitat is another one that I'm a really big fan of. We are at Rotterdam Zoo, Blijdorp, and we have this beautiful, actually kind of lush Red River Hog exhibit. And the way that they accomplish this is by encasing a lot of this foliage in things like rocks that prevent the Red River Hogs from digging under the plants. And just look at how beautiful this looks. You can also see a little special enrichment feeder in the back over there, kind of out of view of the visitors. And yeah, we have several little viewing areas, which we'll explore all of them. But over here we have the stable building. This is a typical Blijdorp stable from the old part of the zoo. This is actually a listed building, so they can't really change much about the aesthetic of this one. It's really like stuck in this way. It's just kind of Blijdorp's thing. This is also a kudu stall on this side, and you can actually walk through here, which is just really awesome. So we got the kudus on this side, and then on the other side we have the Red River Hogs. Now, of course, this building is very typically Blijdorp, but you can still take some inspiration from the way that this stall over here is laid out. So you got several little rooms with shifting doors in between them, so that they can separate the hogs whenever necessary. And they got a little drink fountain over there, a little food trough, and a couple of stone tiles over there as a little step up through the door. Pretty freaking cool. So let's go outside of that stable through this really awesome shifting, like turning door type of a thing, and we are greeted by another viewpoint over here. This is kind of across from that other viewpoint. It is actually to our right, and what we can see is for every one of these viewpoints, the terrain is kind of this concrete thing that's been brought down, making sure that the Red River Hogs can't really dig around these viewpoints, and that they're slightly lower down to make it a bit more difficult for people to reach them. And then we go over this beautiful little wooden bridge over here. I absolutely love this area so much. And then we have our final viewing point. So over there we can also see a big gate, which is where the staff would drive in and out of this habitat whenever they need to do maintenance. That actually leads to the black rhino area, for those familiar with the zoo. And then on this side we can also see there's a little gate that goes to another separation area. Next to this viewing area there's this big pile of logs, which is actually an educational stand. Inside of these logs there's a bunch of little educational displays telling you all about the Congo, which species live in the Congo, Congo tribes, which, like native African tribes living in there, what the Congo is, that it's the biggest rainforest of Africa, and all of these awesome little peepholes giving you a view of the Congo, 69 times the size of the Netherlands. Of course, zoos always love to compare to the country that they're in. Issues that the Congo is facing, sadly, like the mines and stuff like that. Deforestation, of course, is a big one. You can see, I don't know what's in this one. I think it's something about how you can help. I don't think my camera fits in there, no. Yeah, it's like, do the Congo problems in the Congo seem far away from you? No, that's not the case. There's plenty of things that you can do right now to help out, and then it closes off the story with the something that you as a person can do. So yeah, that's like the first zoo we see in this video that has like a dedicated educational display next to the Red River Hog. Super cool one. I absolutely love it. But now it's time to move on to the next zoo. And since we've been kind of switching between Germany and the Netherlands, why don't we head back to Germany and go to the Zoo of Cologne. So over here we are across the giraffe house, and the black rhino house. Coming out of the black rhino house actually is the Red River Hog habitat over here, and it's actually pretty unique in the way that it kind of just sinks down into the ground and has its barrier like that. So there's no real barrier, just a little pit, but not a deep pit like a sad pit. I'm really good at describing this. What I'm trying to say is I really like the look of this enclosure, especially from an angle like this where it seems to just kind of extend from the grassy field. It looks really quite cool. And then, you know, you put this beautiful classical stall in the background over there. I think that's actually the classical elephant building, which is now being used for the black rhino. But yeah, this is just a really cool view over here for the Red River Hogs. They weren't out at this moment. Let's actually throw up some footage. with them outside, enjoying some nice meal from the branch, and while we say goodbye to them and head to the next zoo. And the next zoo we are visiting is Wildlands Adventure Zoo. And Wildlands is of course known for being pretty heavily themed, so it should come to no surprise that also the Red River Hog habitat has quite a lot of theming to it, which makes it stand out among all of these as pretty unique. You've got this beautiful little African village with the Red River Hog habitat right over here. This habitat isn't super big, but something gives me the feeling that when necessary they can open up the gates in the back and share the space. There is a little sign over here which says "We can bite," but when I was first here I misread the sign. I thought it said "we," like our breakfast in Dutch. Yeah, that was a bit of a mistake on my part. I thought that the villagers were eating the hogs, but no, the hogs can eat you. There's also this little thing over here which was closed. I think normally you would be able to enter this to get closer up to the zebu, I guess. I'm not exactly sure how that's supposed to go. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Red River Hogs over here. We also have the zebu, may or may not be part of their enclosure as well. But yeah, that's it for Wildlands. Next up is the zoo of Wuppertal, back in Germany of course. And what's really special about the zoo of Wuppertal is that it's located entirely on a hill. So the entire zoo slopes upwards. So you can see in a lot of the habitats that it's also at this slope, and you have a lot of like elevation changes and stuff. And the same goes for this Red River Hog habitat over here. Similar-ish to Cologne, it's in a pit, although it's a slightly less interesting pit, I would say. It doesn't really have such an effect that Cologne has. But what you can see is this elevation change, right? So you got this wall over here separating to two spaces, which is probably also useful for if they want to separate the hogs from each other. From what I can tell, this is actually one of the few zoos that I've seen that actually has a clear breeding pair. Like you can really tell the difference between the males and the females over here. But yeah, you've got this top part and this bottom part, and there are different elevations. And the hogs really enjoyed running around that little center part, going from one side to the other. So yeah, really neat habitat. It's not super special, but it is pretty cool nonetheless. Then we have Zoopark Overloon. And of course, Zoopark Overloon is a zoo that I've actually already done a real life zoo tour video on, so you can check that out if you want. But what I did not have in that video was greenery. It was recorded in the winter. So let's actually swap over to some summer footage as well for you to see the lushness around this habitat, which there is actually quite a lot of, it being kind of in a forest, which does help capture some of that Congo vibe that the Red River Hogs are supposed to have, since they are actually from Congo. So yeah, that kind of sets this habitat apart a little bit. I do like it a lot. I like the complexity that this habitat has because of all the logs that are just kind of randomly strewn around. I like the natural barriers. It's really quite nice. I really like it a lot. And look at those beautiful, beautiful boys over here. Next up, we have the last German zoo. This is the zoo of Duisburg. There was some construction going on, so we can only really see the habitat from this side. But yeah, this is kind of one of the two main savanna type habitats. So you can see this kind of moat in between the guest area and the savanna over here. That's kind of how these habitats are set up. What's pretty special about this is another quite unique mixed species. No small thing like a meerkat or a banded mongoose. No, we got the Watusi cattle over here together with the Red River Hog. Pretty cool combination right there. Other than that, there isn't a lot going on. It's just a pretty decent habitat. I quite like it. And it's nice to see that this type of moat also works for them. So that's cool. So almost wrapping up over here, we are in the gorilla building of GaiaZoo, which is a absolutely beautiful zoo over here in the south of the Netherlands. And this is probably the most unique Red River Hog habitats out of all of them, because I mean, if you haven't noticed already, it has grass. I have no idea how they've managed to do this. It seems like a miracle. I mean, judging by the other zoo, I've asked someone who works here if you have any idea how this is possible. Why does their zoo have grass in the Red River Hog habitat and any other zoo that I've seen doesn't? Maybe it's newer, maybe they've done some neat little trick to prevent them from digging up all of the grass. I have no clue, but it is so freaking cool and beautiful looking. It's absolutely impressive. Yeah, that's just cool, and apparently it's possible. So if you want to have grass in your Red River Hog habitat, it's apparently maybe possible. So go ham. Wrapping up over here with the final Red River Hog habitat that I have visited. We are in ZieZoo. This is another zoo that I have a zoo tour of up on my channel, so if you're interested in checking that out, you can do that. But yeah, this is it. It's again a very simple enclosure, and we can, to wrap it all up, we've got all of the staples. We've got dirt, mud, plants, roots, stones, plants, live plants that are encased in something, whether that's rock or mesh or electrical wire. Yeah, and to wrap it up nicely as well, we've got a mixed species habitat. These Red River Hogs are mixed together with meerkats. So yeah, we've seen meerkats, banded mongoose, Watusi cattle, elephants. I feel like Red River Hogs are pretty nice species to mix with all sorts of things. I feel like they get along really nicely. They seem like chill boys, you know? So that is pretty much it for me today. Join me in a few days probably when we visit another animal. It's going to be either the Fusa or the Asian water monitor. I'm thinking of visiting another zoo before then to check out the another Asian water monitor habitat. Otherwise I only have 2 to show you guys, so I want to crank that up to at least 3 perhaps. So yeah, we'll see whether or not I'll be able to do that. I guess you'll find out. I'm saving the sloths for after the DLC is out, because I would like to know how the exhibit works exactly, so I don't give you guys false hopes of being able to create all of these sloth habitats in the game and then the exhibit box is so restricting that will be impossible. I would like to prevent that. So yeah, I don't think I have anything else to tell you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed, hope you got some inspiration. Have fun making Red River Hog habitats with the new Planet Zoo Tropical Pack, and bye bye.